Well, hello, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling from. Welcome to our RallyBright Feature Highlights webinar. My name is Mike Sweeney. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at RallyBright. And our mission here at RallyBright is to make teamwork better for everyone by empowering managers to become better leaders. We have with us as our guest today, Shar Anderson, our Head of Customer Success, and Heather Grosso, Customer Success Manager. I'll start with Shar. Shar is our Senior Director of Customer Success here at RallyBright, where she's been caring for our customers for over 2.5 years, and is also a seasoned HR professional with over 15 years experience in organizational effectiveness, employee engagement, performance management, and talent development.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the intro, Mike.
My pleasure. And also with us here today is Heather Grosso. Heather's our Customer Success Manager. She enjoys supporting RallyBright customers, all of you, throughout the assessment process, is always looking for ways to improve the experience. Heather previously worked to support individuals' well-being through psychology research and other roles in the wellness industry. She also has some design background too, and you'll see that in her slides. She now helps customers use RallyBright to improve team performance and well-being at work.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everyone.
Well, we are all here, and this will be an interactive session, so we'd love to hear from you. In the Q&A, and I know someone's already started, a couple others are coming in the Q&A panel, let us know where you're calling from and what brought you here today. And we'll use this Q&A panel as questions come up, and I'll be keeping my eye on it as Shar and Heather take us through the webinar. Okay, Silver Spring, Maryland is our first. Boston, San Francisco, I see Ohio, Maine, North Carolina. People are interested in finding out what's new in the platform. We're getting some love in the Q&A panel. I'll give it another moment. Chicago is in the house. I think we're Texas. Yep, Austin's in Texas. Yep, pay attention. Interested in the overview? Okay, perfect. I'll give it another second. It looks like things are trickling. Owensboro, Kentucky is in the house. Fantastic. As these continue to trickle in, if I didn't say your state, apologies, but I'll pass things over to our two esteemed panelists.
Thanks again, Mike. I'm so excited to see such a great mix of people here. We hope you find this session informative and engaging. We're going to be starting with showcasing some of our customer favorite platform features. And then from there, we'll go into some of our offerings that can support leadership development. And then finally, hot off the presses, we're going to highlight our new leadership experience, RallyBright Swift. So as our customers, I'm sure you've experienced either one, maybe a combination, maybe even all of our offerings. We have our platform along with corresponding science-based team assessments that help drive optimal team performance and dynamics. You all also have access to your individual profiles. And we all know that self-awareness is crucial in team effectiveness. These profiles can be used to better understand individual personality types and to learn about colleagues by comparing shared profiles. We have coaching offerings that help leaders and teams reach their maximum leadership potential and team effectiveness. And lastly, we have certification. This enables you all to be able to administer in the platform and maximize the utility to help guide and drive action with team results. So Mike mentioned that this was very much an informal interactive session. We have a little poll for you all before we even delve deep. So if it's okay, Mike, I'm going to turn it back over to you so we can get the poll started.
Sure, thank you. Here's our first question. We want to get a sense of what's most important for your team. Tracking data over time on impact, engagement, or inclusion. Yes, you can do all those things. Easily spotting strengths and vulnerabilities across many teams. You can do that too. Or strengthening collaboration, relationships. This is where I'm interested in seeing the response from the crowd. And I need some theme music here, like the Jeopardy music, as people answer those questions. What's most important for you or your team? I always want to do this like as a horse race. Easily spotting strengths is in the lead. Give people another second or two. It looks like all are important, but easily spotting strengths and vulnerabilities across multiple teams is far and away a favorite. So we want to make sure we spend some time on that particular area of our webinar. So thank you for participating. We'll make sure we cover each of these today. Are you ready to check out some platform features? Okay, I'll turn things over to Heather.
All right, thanks, Mike. I am excited to share a few features that provide valuable insights about your teams and can help you in each of the areas from our poll. So let's get started. All right. First, we'll look at a feature that makes it easy to see your team's progress over time. Assessments like Resilient Teams are designed to be completed ideally 2 to 3 times throughout the year. Each time your team completes the assessment, you'll get fresh data about what's working and where you need to focus next. This is where the Timeshift feature is so useful. Timeshift allows you to easily compare your team's scores to your previous assessment. You'll find the Timeshift buttons in your Resilient Teams and Inclusive Collaboration reports once you've completed them a second time. You'll be able to see how your team's scores and the score ranges have changed over time. You can also pinpoint how each of your team's strengths and vulnerabilities have shifted since your last assessment. And as you view the time shifts throughout your report and see how your team's scores have changed, you can consider how internal or external factors may have played a role in those changes. Now, let's look at a few examples of time shift within a Resilient Teams report. All right, in your Resilient Teams report, you'll find a time shift button for your team resilience scores. That will show you your team's most recent scores compared to the previous assessment. The column charts show the average score for each dimension in white, and if you look below, you'll see exactly how each one has changed. So we can see that connection went up 5 points from 77 to 82. And the columns show the range of scores from high to low. So we can see at a glance how the score ranges have decreased. These green boxes also highlight the smaller ranges, which show that the team members are more in agreement about how the team is doing on that dimension. These higher scores and smaller ranges are exactly what we want to see, and the time shift makes it easy. However, the average and range don't show you how individuals scored the team, and that's why we look at the cluster chart. So here you can see that there's a lot of agreement on the team's performance overall. And that range they were seeing on the column chart is being driven by an outlier. And moving to the team promoter score now. If you select the time shift, you can see changes in the promoters, neutrals, and detractors. Here we can see that the TPS has increased. Promoters have stayed consistent, but there are no longer any detractors. Time shift is especially useful when it comes to the strengths and vulnerabilities. There's a time shift button for each one. So if we look at this team's strengths over time, we can see that their top strength has shifted from performance to attitude, and some of these strengths have increased dramatically. If this was your team and you had been working to improve decision-making over the past few months, and you saw that I am able to influence decisions made by the team, had moved up 20 places to number 7, that would really validate that your efforts are having an impact. So if your team has completed more than one resilient teams or inclusive collaboration assessment, I encourage you to find those time shift buttons in your report. And before we move on to the next feature, I encourage you to please submit your time shift questions in the Q&A. And Mike, can you let us know if there are any questions?
You bet. There's already one. If I've been using RallyBright for more than 2 assessments, can I look back and see previous, like just see what has happened over a longer period of time?
Yes. So you can keep moving back and comparing each assessment to the one before it. Any other questions, Mike?
I'm not seeing any coming in on Timeshift. I think you've covered that quite well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have our company summary features. So the executive summary and company summary reports are essential for anyone who leads or supports multiple teams. Here you can see an example of a resilient team's executive summary. And this provides a bird's eye view of team scores across your organization. You can easily identify high-performing teams to discover best practices and pinpoint which teams need more support. You may find a pattern across the organization that can inform future organization-wide initiatives. So let's take a look at these on the platform. All right, here we are under My Company now, and we see a resilient team's executive summary. We can turn on the heat map to see patterns emerge. All of the teams here you can see have a good attitude. We can celebrate that and draw on that strength as we address some of the vulnerabilities, particularly the sales team's performance and the design team's adaptability. The company summary report here provides more organization-wide data. For example, we can see top strengths and top vulnerabilities across the organization. So if you are leading or supporting multiple teams, we hope you'll take advantage of these features. And once again, submit your questions in the Q&A. And Mike, are we getting any questions on these company summary features?
One came in pretty fast. Can you, this is probably from a senior executive, can you see what happens when you change the leader of a team? And I think this probably came from that one that had the negative TPS. So is it possible to tell what happens when you change a leader?
Okay, so if you can determine when they started and then look at the team scores around that time before and after. You might look at the TPS or the dimension scores, and that can give you a sense of how things have changed over time.
Well, I guess if you can go back on the history and you know the date, that would make sense. I see another one here. Oh, can you look at how companies are scoring against each other?
Okay, so not in the company summary, but you can use our benchmarks within our assessments, like the Resilient Teams assessment, to compare scores to leadership teams and teams in other industries like healthcare and finance. And that can give you a sense of how you compare to other teams.
Let me see. That is it for questions coming in on this part.
All right. Okay.
I can tell one thing, as a former customer, I tended to use, or it's possible to use Like you said, with attitude, you can tell that the teams have a good attitude, but adaptability and performance, if you're a learning and development professional, you can use that as a company-wide needs assessment.
That's a great point, Mike.
Sorry, former customer, now on the team. I have to remember to maintain my enthusiasm sometimes.
All right, thanks. So we've visited my teams and my company, and now our final feature highlight is under my profile. So you may have taken our DISC or conflict style assessments with your team or on your own, and these assessments are typically included in RallyBright subscriptions. You would find them under my profile. Self-aware individuals and collaborative duos are the building blocks of effective teams. The DISC and conflict style assessments can help you better understand your own working styles and those of your colleagues so that you can improve the ways you work together. At RallyBright, we adhere to privacy by design principles, so your individual assessment results are private until you choose to share them. So while you can learn a lot just by viewing your own report, sharing the results with your colleagues can have an even greater impact. You can compare profiles to learn how you might communicate more effectively, nurture and celebrate your colleagues' strengths, and appreciate the diversity of working styles on your team. So let's take a closer look on the platform. All right, here we are under my profile. Now, Grace here has completed her DISC and conflict style assessments. She's also shared the results with her teammates so that they can learn from them. She's now working on a project with Noah and wants to consider how his working style can impact how they collaborate and learn more so that they can work together more effectively. She can do this using the Compare Profiles feature. And Grace will select Noah's profile, and she'll see a summary of his results. To see how her results compare, she would select the Compare button here. Now Grace can see how her style compares to Noah's. It's easy to spot where their styles are more similar or different. Looking at their DISC comparison, she can take into consideration how Noah might prefer to communicate and work together, and she can ask him questions to learn more. With the conflict style comparison, Grace can appreciate how their problem-solving styles could help them address the root cause of issues that arise throughout the project. However, in some situations, this preference may be too time-consuming, so Grace can be mindful of that and maybe suggest a different approach. That is our profile compare feature. So if you haven't already, you might want to take those assessments and share them with your team so that you can strengthen your relationships and build an exceptional team. Please submit your profile compare questions in the Q&A.
I'll keep my eye on the panel as it comes up. You know, a lot of times people have taken the resilient team assessment, maybe don't know about these individual assessments. So if you're access to the platform, they're yours. Play around. Oh, there's one question. I've used DISC using the Wiley assessment. Is your DISC assessment the same as Wiley's?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's probably close in many ways. DISC is publicly available, so we created our own version, and ours is designed, built specifically with teams in mind, and it offers more specific DISC styles. It's also continually reviewed and enhanced based on customer use and feedback, and it includes the team DISC report, as well as workshop templates. So.
That is it for the questions on the profile comparison.
All right, thanks, Mike. So moving on to the next topic for today's webinar, you're probably all familiar with our team assessments, but you may not have heard about RallyBright Academy. So Shar, please share why our team developed the RallyBright Academy and how this can help organizations.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Bear with me here a moment. And here we are. So we're ready to talk Leadership Academy offerings. We wanted to cover this one specifically because of what we're hearing in the market. What we've learned is that 2024 is going to be the year of the manager. According to a recent study at Gartner, HR's #1 priority next year is going to be leadership and manager development. There's so much pressure on leaders at the moment to support their team members and drive performance. I'm going to share a little stat that I thought was interesting from Gartner. 76% of HR leaders are overwhelmed by the expansion of their job responsibilities. 73% of their leaders are saying they're not equipped for the task that's put in front of them. So we heard this loud and clear and have put together some offerings that can help our leaders to be more effective and prepared for the year ahead by taking our course offerings from RallyBright. The Academy includes prepackaged modules that can either augment your current package or they can be leveraged as a standalone offering. It can be included in your current or upcoming leadership development initiatives, and we're here to help you with that. They're facilitated by one of our amazing RallyBright certified coaches. We are in the presence of one of them. Thank you, Mike, for being here to do that. And they can be conducted either in person or virtually. So duration-wise, they typically can take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on your team's needs and objectives. And you know that we like to work in lockstep with you all. So we'll make sure to ask that first and then prepare it with you so that it resonates specifically for your team. And what we've provided here is the list of our offerings. And as you can see, these are tied to our core RallyBright products. Each workshop begins by assessing participants around relevant or chosen course so that we can gather a baseline of current team environment and dynamics. We also wanted to give you a little bit of a flavor of what these look like. We've chosen to highlight our leading high performance teams course. We know, based from what you shared with us, that there's a ton of pressure to drive towards hitting and exceeding key performance metrics. The key expectation and the common theme that we're hearing right now is how to do more with less. This course can help with that, and it's essentially anchored around a resilient teams assessment. As you all know, we measure resilient teams by looking at team engagement and team impact. When we're looking at team engagement, we're talking about the dimensions of connection and attitude, and with team impact, we are talking about direction, adaptability, and performance. During these sessions, the team will be able to identify and understand their shared purpose, uncover their own strengths and vulnerabilities. This is the time that they can align on key action items and goals that emerge from team results and observations. And finally, and I think this is the most important piece, is making sure that there's shared accountability across the team to collectively make an impact. So I know that I talked pretty quickly and I gave you a very high level overview of what RallyBright Academy is. Mike, do we have any questions that are coming in the Q&A out of curiosity?
Not yet, but I'll give it just a moment.
Awesome.
I think you may have said it, but there's a question in there. Do you offer these virtually or in person?
Yes, so it can be either or, depending on the need. We're happy to do in person if that is what is the preferred way for people to work effectively.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any more coming in. I think you covered it very well. I imagine there's some curiosity on the contents of the other three, but at some point, if someone wants to know more, they can reach out to us.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. Right. So thanks for these questions and thanks for sharing that, Mike. During the rest of our time together, we want to talk about our recently launched leadership experience tool, RallyBright Swift. I know that you guys are very curious to learn what it is. But before I do that, I want to spend some time explaining why we decided to even launch this. And the short answer is we heard very loud and clear from all of you that yes, you love our offerings, you appreciate the customer support that we provide, all of the rich data from our platform. The one thing is it can be very difficult to decide even where to begin, especially when you're measuring 5 dimensions. We took this feedback to heart and started brainstorming about how we can simplify. And during these discussions, our mantra quickly became, how can we go from overwhelmed to wow? Well, welcome to the wow. RallyBright Swift is a lightweight tool designed to help leaders focus on targeted interventions. You, as leaders, will be able to understand what's going on one dimension at a time by focusing on the areas that need the most attention. This is the time for you to be able to start peeling back the onion on what's causing the pain points and how to fix it. I think that's enough talking about it. Are you guys ready to see what this experience looks like? Fantastic. So we will first start with, how do we sign up? So when you access the link, and we'll provide this in the panel as well, the chat, swift.rallybright.com, the first thing that you're going to do is put in your name, email address, and then click sign up. It's as easy as getting prompted with a question, what challenges are you noticing with your team? And there's various scenarios that we've provided to you already. And if this resonates to you as a leader, you can click one of these. Alternatively, when you're thinking, not quite any of these scenarios, you can click none of the above. And this should look very familiar because it's our resilient teams dimensions. And me as Mary, I can say, okay, connection is really the thing that I need to learn more about because we're having some friction there. I can go ahead and click on connection. Click on continue, and we're ready to rock and roll. It's a 5-minute assessment specifically only on connection. Once the assessment is complete, what you will then be able to do as a leader is see your own preliminary results. Here, you have a very high-level overview of how you score and a little bit of an analysis here. There's also some resources around connection that's provided off the bat. But where I want to emphasize that the importance comes in is learning about what your team perceptions are. It's great that you now have an awareness of what you think is going on, but where you'll really start to learn about how to move the needle and make an impact is when you invite your team to participate as well. And that's as simple as entering your team members' email addresses, putting in your team name. We've even provided a pre-populated communication here. If you want to tailor that, that is also something that can be edited. All right. And this is my favorite part of the feature, obviously, is learning holistically what's going on. And we can navigate to what that looks like once your team completes. So this is the homepage that you'll be taken to, 100% completion, which is fantastic. That's already a good sign that people are all participating. And then you can start to review the detail. This is one of my favorite views here because now you're able to see how you as an individual leader is stacking up against your team. Is there a shared experience? Is it disparate? This is a good place to start. I also love this because I know you've all seen the platform and it's usually top 10 strengths and vulnerabilities. This really distills it into the specific dimension that you're interested in to your top 2 strengths and your top 2 vulnerabilities. Once you've learned what those are, we also provide some recommendations for each of the vulnerabilities that have emerged. And I am very action-oriented and driven. So what I also appreciate here is the fact that there are recommended actions already that you can take. And this is where we would say that you would want to have the conversations with your team to really align and discuss which areas of opportunity that you want to focus on. You'll see some very neat features here because we also have a roadmap where you have the capability of adding to what you want to focus on. Again, the recommended resources are also fantastic. So at least you're not starting from scratch about how to get moving the needle and make the impact. I'm going to scroll up and I'm hoping I'm not making people dizzy. But what I want to show here is the roadmap. As you can see, this HR leader specifically, along with their teammates, have already picked specific action items that they want to focus on. This is a way for you to always be able to go back in and see what progress has been made. And good job on this HR team. They've already completed one action item with 3 more to go. So this is a very quick sneak preview. I'm going to pause here to see if you all have any questions about the leadership experience.
I am checking the Q&A panel. I think you need to trademark the welcome to WOW. I like that. Sounded really good. One question has come in. Can we assess more than one dimension?
Yes, you absolutely can. While it's tailored to do it one at a time, you absolutely can, even in the site itself, click on assessing multiple assessments, and then you'll be able to have the capability to do that. Absolutely. Great question.
Of course, they can assess all the dimensions easily with our Resilient Team instrument.
That's right.
Oh, another one. Are the resources free?
They are. This is something that we can access for the lightweight experience. They're limited. If it's something that you want more of an in-depth, you can always reach out to us and we can talk about how you can get the other resources as well.
There's a really quick follow-up on that one. What if we want access for longer than 14 days?
Well, I'm sure you'll know what I say here. Reach out to us and we can have a conversation about what it is that you're looking for. And one thing I don't want to forget is right now we are offering a 14-day free trial. We'll provide you all the link if you want to experience it yourself. So just something that I want to call out if you're curious about what this would look like for you all.
And I did put that in the chat to everyone, so hopefully they all have it. You may not be able to chat. You can use Q&A, but you should have seen the link show up. That is it for the questions on Swift. I don't see any more.
Fantastic. So now that we've completed our highlights feature, I'm going to turn it back over to Mike, our amazing host. Thank you so much for keeping us on track and tracking all the questions and making sure they're answered.
Yeah, it's important, I think, every now and then to let everyone know what's going on in the world of RallyBright. And I run into some of our customers sometimes that don't know about the functionality that we've added. One thing that I think Shar and Heather have made it clear is that we're listening. And a lot of our initiatives and a lot of our new functionality comes from suggestions. So you've got contact information directly. You can reach out to us. You can email customer success, and we'll talk about maybe adding some functionality or making sure that you're aware. These are new functionality. Swift is certainly something we're all excited about in the idea of giving leaders a simple way to assess their team quickly. I'm just going to check to see if there's any other questions. At the moment, I'm not seeing any come in. But speaking of feedback, we do value your authentic feedback on our product and services. So customers like you, let us know what you think. Would love it if you're willing to write a short review of our platform on G2. G2 is an independent review site where nearly 1 million professionals like you are sharing their opinions on the software they use. Very similar to Glassdoor or TripAdvisor, but for the software and apps that people use at work. So if you're inclined, you're excited about the new features, you're a raving fan like I was, please share your feedback. And we just want to say thank you so much for your participation, for the questions, and for joining us on this journey as we try to improve teamwork for everyone.
Thanks, everyone.